right, guys, welcome to Central Coast Disc Golf. This is the Cascade Challenge presented by Discraft. I'm Nate Perkins, joined here today with my good friend Connor O'Reilly. And Connor, we're still here in the Pacific Northwest. We're in Shelton, Washington, gateway to Olympic National Park. How sweet is this property?
It's a pleasure to be here. We are back in the woods. Almost every tee shot out here is going to require you to hit a gap. And this is a track that is on the shorter side for what we see on tour, so a lot of players are relishing the opportunity to throw some putters, mid-ranges, and shape shots in the woods. Hole one, definitely a good long putter shot. Most players looking to push it flat. And at the end, whether you want to push inside here and get kind of lucky or kind of just finish straight and give yourself a right side of circle's edge look, I think that's the more clean line. Most guys are going overstable putter here.
Leading off, your 325 feature card from Boulder, Colorado, Eagle McMahon.
Eagle coming off an incredible performance at the new Riverbend Gold layout at Milo McIver last weekend. Played 54 holes, shot 31 under par with just one bogey on the weekend.
Eagle has been known to have a little bit of trouble on shorter wooded courses just with the speed he likes to come out with, so let's see how he likes to attack today.
Next up from Mesa, Arizona, Anthony Barela.
He'd be another guy whose stock speed is in that lower 70s mile per hour range, so gonna have to down tempo, play some slower discs, really slow the footwork up.
Yeah, just going Luna here. Catches one of the late guardian trees.
From Minocqua, Wisconsin, Adam Hammett.
Yeah, this is one of those courses where there's a lot of ways to get to the basket, but a lot of the holes, the cleanest line is going to kind of bring you to the circle's edge. Trying to park it, a lot of times you're going to have to get a little lucky on the tree bunkers.
And good to see Adam back in competition this weekend. I know that he actually had to withdraw from the Beaver State Fling last week due to an illness. So Carter actually set the new course record at the gold layout at Milo last week, shooting a 12 under par during the final round. It's 15 years old, Connor.
Yeah, kids are just getting better and better, and the game is in good hands.
And he's just from 45 minutes up the road, just outside of Tacoma, Washington.
A hole one definitely feels like one you got to give yourself a circle one look on. And the elevated basket adds a little layer of difficulty for those longer runs.
Yeah, this is only one of two pins that has any elevation to it.
Yeah, it's a couple weekends in a row where we don't really see the typical elevated baskets that we get on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. It's been kind of nice as a player. Adam, fantastic comeback.
Yeah, he left himself in a rough spot there with a low ceiling putt from a knee, but he cashes it.
There's that tree blocking the front side of the basket, and it probably made him change his line on that first putt a little bit. Carter cleans up for par. McMahon does the same.
We're going 4 pars here on the first.
Rare to see on the second easiest hole on the course. Wow.
All right, hole 2. It's only 325. Continues with the gap hitting theme here at Shelton. This gap is only 10 feet across. There is a mandatory left. Kind of Creeps into the mine just a bit. This fairway shapes from right to left. It's pretty hard to get this one to swing all the way back into the circle, but it's a little drier out here than I think most people were expecting, and this grass was actually pretty skippy.
You can definitely rely on consistent ground play in this hole, and I feel like, yeah, like Nate said, it is hard to draw it back left to the basket. I feel like the two ways to do that are either to get it to the ground early and take a huge flare skip, or make sure to get the nose up and really get that hyzer angle. If you drive it flat, it's just common to find yourself circle 2's edge on the right side where AB is about to hang out.
Yeah, this is a very common result right here. And also the wind, it's not going to play much of a factor during this round. 14 of the 18 holes are in the dense woods, but it does play a role here. It's out of the west, and so it's kind of a tailwind and a little bit of a left to right as the disc starts to hyzer back. So it kind of keeps them from working back toward the pin.
Adam going to have a lot of work to do. Carter's shot looks very clean, but even so, still pushes long. This is a gap that's tight enough. It really makes you feel that tension and makes you focus up.
I almost feel like it's important to hit some of these early gaps, because if you do miss them, it starts to mess with your confidence, and you have to hit like 14 or 15, like pretty skinny gaps on this course.
Yeah, I think trying to make adjustments throughout the round is going to be really hard. So hitting some early gaps and not finding yourself trying to figure your swing out is going to be one of the keys to scoring out here. We have some brand new Chainstar pros out here, so they're catching the discs real well.
Yeah, good up and down there for Adam after squaring that Mando tree up. No way, Eagle putting back into the headwind and just never got it above the rim. He's going to go one over through the first two.
To see no birdies from our feature card on the first two holes is just shocking. Hole 2, not necessarily a gimme birdie with how tight the gap is and how far left you have to move it, but you expect to see one, maybe two at least on this card. Bottled up frustrations might not be a terrible thing as you head in to the third. It's a bomber tee shot. This par 4 starts in the wide open, playing with all this blooming Scotch broom, I'm told it's called. It's been messing with me hardcore, and you really just want to put a big move on a drive. A lot of places you can be and still give yourself an opportunity to score, but if you can be somewhere around this path or left of it, you're going to have the best opportunity to get into these woods for a look at the birdie. This one takes two really good shots. There's some shorter par 4s throughout the track, but this one definitely feels like it takes two pumps unless you really just unleash off this tee shot. Coming in, probably going to play some kind of straighter fairway driver if you execute your tee how you want. And definitely an elusive birdie.
A little bit of a tailwind left to right.
See ya. Ooh, anytime you throw it around the catch cam, you know he's past the gap. That is,
it's like 550 plus right there with that nuke.
Hammies has sneaky distance as well, not thought of as as long of a player as Anthony, but definitely can put it out there. Just didn't quite get the turn out of the hand on that one. Still good birdie opportunity from there.
Oh yeah. Gets that one to flip up and ride just a bit. Yeah. Huge shot from Carter. Prime position. A little hyzer into the tunnel.
I saw Carter getting extra reps in on this tee shot in practice, so he was looking to show the world his distance, seeing the bomber card that he was facing off with. Eagle. Looks long of Anthony's.
Plenty of distance, but he really pinched his angle off there. He's way off to the right.
A misfire from him. He gets to a fortunate spot. He's going to have an opportunity to birdie still.
I don't know if he could have done too much better with the air shot there.
Yeah, I
think for a moment he was looking high, like he might throw a grenade.
haven't seen many players outdrive this gap and have to deal with that problem. Haven't seen any players, actually.
Yeah, I don't know too many players that can.
Now we see two here. Anthony going with that floaty Luna shot. Just doesn't quite get the turn, but good disc selection, pushes into the circle.
Well, Anthony had like less than 300 into the pin there on this 864-foot hole. Really pushing the limits of the disc technology.
Absolutely. For all you guys who don't think that the disc is stable enough for you, you probably need to check your form and the way that it's coming out wobble-wise, because if it can hold up to Eagle McMahon or Anthony Barela, I think you're just fine. Wow, that seemed like a made putt from Hammies, but just never really got into these thick chains that you see on the chain stars. I feel like sometimes if you come in from a long way away, high in the chains, it just doesn't have the energy to get into these chains, having the 3 layers.
Anthony gets himself on the board there. Eagle going to stay 1 over through 3.
Hole 3 actually plays the second most difficult birdie or hole on the course. Only 13% birdie rate. Not a ton of danger, but definitely takes 2 pristine shots to get.
Yeah, on the longer side of a par 4 as well at 860. Few of our players perfect through the first 3.
Katrina Allen! Maria Arriba! She's done it! Kristen Tatar!
Side, Ananda! Stacy Grenadier!
Champion Oakland and Austin!
Paige Pierce!
Right, I feel like hole 4 kind of sets the theme for the rest of the course. A few early gaps here. These are 15-foot gaps early in the flight. Only 330 feet. For the right-hand backhand shot, it's a pretty high-level shape. You have to get this to fly straight for most of the flight and then break from left to right at 280 feet or so. I think this one shapes up a little bit better for a fairway forehand that flattens out for just a briefest moment and then starts to stable up. Anthony going with that Raptor. Just needs to see this one flatten out for a moment.
Yeah, did release it flat, but just a little too stable.
I think this is actually a domey force for Adam.
Yeah, I've been going with the distance driver here. But I do feel like if you do hit a fairway driver just proper, it's probably the perfect distance for this one. The distance driver probably ends up with a little extra steam.
Carter actually going putter. Just kind of torques over on that one. Do you agree? Do you feel like the backhand's pretty high level?
Yeah, like you said, the way you almost have to release an understable disc on some hyzer for it to move straight and then end up moving right just a tad at the end. It does feel like a much more skilled shot than the flat to fade forehand, and even Eagle going to that forehand. He's really been starting to bust it back out more, but it's still not just a chip shot.
And Eagle's forehand just hasn't looked the same since that injury a couple years back, and you could see him kind of favoring it on the tee there. The way that he kind of keeps his elbow close to his body, just not the way that he used to deliver it before the injury.
We've still seen him display impressive power with it, but yeah, just not unleashing that raw force that we used to see him kind of changing the game with. Carter's a little bit right and low there. Not able to get it to stick.
Right. Adam is on the board after a beautiful force shot. And Eagle gonna come tap in his second bogey in 4 holes. That's one more than he had all weekend.
This is crazy. It feels the energy feels a little stale on this card, and these players are gonna need to get something going, because none of this is cutting it if you're trying to be back on the final tee time tomorrow. Hole 5, we have another par 4. This one is only 615 feet. This gap off the tee is pretty clean, and as long as you hit your flight and choose the distance you want to try to attack properly, there are clean landing zones. The second shot can be pretty hairy though. If you find yourself somewhere right around to where the left of where this drone just started breaking, there is a straight line to the basket. Maybe the forehand will break down this line off the tee that the drone is flying, but there are a lot of trees down this way if you want to get up there. I've been finding the left side to have just a little bit more openness coming into this basket, so most players looking to push a straight backhand somewhere short of that out of bounds road and then find a way to this one. No two ways to play this one the same though. Wow, if you have Adam's forehand, then you can maybe push it far enough right to even open up a clean line, but yeah, that is tough.
There's one little window there on the backside. Oh, Anthony kind of flipping up that nuke.
Carter going back to that same putter, I believe. Oh no, he's going fairway driver, or maybe driver here even. And he just kind of got a little low to high on that one. Wasn't a super clean release.
Eagle going MD1 here.
Yeah, I think with his speed, he doesn't need anything more than that. Otherwise, that road long will come into play pretty quickly if he misses that angle.
What a pretty line that was to watch from that A-cam. Just gently flipping up and riding.
Carter going forehand with a defender right there. Makes good progress.
Yeah, Anthony looking to crack that zone over just a little bit more and fades out to circle's edge.
Yeah, 2 shots not quite working out how he wanted, but still to be at circle's edge, it's going to be pretty happy with that. An eagle with a beautiful hyzer stand-up. I found this course allows for, with as many trees as there are, quite a few of those really understable hyzers that just stand up the entire way, and it's such a beautiful line to watch in my mind.
Yeah, that was a high-level shot right there. Yeah, I agree with you on that. It seems to open up some of the gaps a little bit more if the putter is kind of flipping up as it's riding on hyzer.
Carter, well navigated, should be able to save par. Definitely a course where, you can find trouble on any hole, but it's hard to imagine really having any kind of blow up holes out here.
Yeah, not a ton of OB. And there's enough space in the rough that you can still progress.
We're going to see another hole with no birdies for this feature card. Shelton Springs showing that even though it's short, you really got to be crisp with your timing and be really accurate to score some birdies out here.
Right, hole 6. This is a tricky par 3. Only 325 feet. There is this first gap that's 12 feet across with the Mando tree on the left side. And then there are kind of 3 late trails to choose from. This early one is the biggest, but it's really difficult to imagine a line that can get you into the circle if you take this early gap. The middle gap is probably the one that most people are taking. Also happens to be the smallest one. It's the easiest way to park the hole, but you can't really see the entrance to the gap from the tee pad. You just kind of have to trust based on your practice.
Eagle almost taking the route that the drone flew, even though I didn't know it was physically possible. But
yeah, he was trying to flip something up through there.
There's that tree there with the sunlight on the right. You can see off the tee that these players are looking to test.
And Adam flies that middle gap to perfection there with the Raptor.
You have to get the nose up in order to park this one. I feel like if you drive it, you're just going to end up on the back right side with that hedge in your way.
Mm-hmm.
And also kind of a fun thing we'll see as we get further into this course is there's some little hedges that are nice and squared off and trimmed up out here that just add some fun character and challenge to the course. Carter a bit late, as well as Anthony. They have a lot of work to do. Par would be a miracle, honestly.
This seems impossible. Still has to navigate the mandatory. Wow. Gets up and around the corner.
Carter did miss the Mando. I honestly didn't even know where the drop zone was, so I was kind of confused to see him go an Anheuser shot, but he's been seeming to like that release angle and threw it well there. Eagle having a hard time digesting what's happening to him currently on the course.
Yeah, he is. I'm not having a hard time believing it to be true. He's going to have a 50-footer for his par.
Oh, just off the mark. And the course is really grinding him down. He knows he can feel himself sliding back right now, and he's got to get the birdies going.
I have to wonder if Carter is feeling a little extra pressure coming off his career performance at Beaver State, and then he's here in his home state. Imagine a lot of his family came up for this event.
Yeah, I'm sure he wants to continue to prove to the world that it wasn't just a one-time thing and that he wants to continue to show the type of golf he can play. Looking at leaderboard through 6, we still have Isaac and James only missing 1 birdie on their card.
Yeah, a couple of the best gap hitters on tour right now.
Absolutely.
Kinda not surprising to see those names there.
You're going to need those gap shaping skills for hole 7. This is one of my favorites on the course. Really like the nuance of the tee shot. You have to align your body on the left side of the tee, otherwise this gap really gets skinny. Out of bounds line on the left as we get up closer to the basket, and other than that, you just really got to make sure you hit the proper wing angle off the tee. I'm liking something forced over that you know is going to fight out, and maybe just catch that left edge before it gets to the ground. Have a little gentle skip back. Whether you want to go fast fairway driver or even a softer distance driver, seems to be what most players are going with.
Oh yeah, that ground is playing fast this weekend. Little fresh mow last week might have contributed to that.
Yeah, another hole with very consistent skip, and I feel like that's part of what scares me away from that hyzer release angle on this. Even with the straight disc, Eagle makes that one look very simple.
Yeah, just a couple feet off the ground with that FT3.
Anthony going buzz here. I feel like that's a bit of a force disc-wise. I know he can get it there, but the way this one shapes and the way the ceiling is kind of constricted, just doesn't feel like he needs to do that much.
And back-to-back releases for Carter that were kind of pulled. Definitely having the kind of start where you really start to question yourself. And it's hard to get settled back in when you find yourself 1 over through the first 6 holes.
Yeah, at that point, there's no really one shot that can make you find a rhythm. You kind of have to start stringing together a hole or 2, 3 holes of good shots before you kind of feel like yourself again.
Adam back into a little bit of a head right to left right here.
Gonna need to play this one low and right and let the wind keep it up.
Interesting. It's a little bit of a misread on the wind there.
Carter with some continued frustrations gonna stack another birdie or bogey in a row. I'm sorry. Eagle with another bounce back birdie. He's still over par though, and not happy to be so.
Yeah, this is only the second Silver Series that Eagle McMahon has ever played in.
That's pretty crazy to me because a lot of players have really been starting to dabble into them, especially last season and this one.
This is a hole that I've actually been looking forward to see both Anthony and Eagle attack. It has to be playing as the easiest hole on the course. Connor looked that up for us, and
Absolutely is.
560 feet as a par 4. It is attackable for the Eagle. There's some OB on the left. There's a mandatory on the right at the mouth of the trees. Back into the headwind here, actually. The roller is going to be a popular play.
Yeah, these players are experiencing a headwind mainly off the left, so it's really going to push that disc to the right if they get it turned. Eagles seems to really test that mandatory tree.
I was almost expecting Eagle to go Cloudbreaker roller with how well he threw some of those rollers last week.
I feel like he would cruise past this one if he hit it right, though, so he might feel worried about that.
Oh, yeah, and maybe that wind isn't favorable for the rollers. We see it kind of stand Adams up a bit early, but he's well into the wood line there. Probably just 100 feet or so to the pin.
I'm not gonna lie, I do not love the tree that was chosen as the Mando tree, as it kind of has like a squiggly bottom where you can like slip underneath it and it gets a bit hard to call, so maybe something we can adjust going into next
And that
year.
that wind also pushes AB's roller a little further right than he wanted.
I didn't realize how many guys were committing to the roller on this one. Definitely.
Did you try it in practice at all?
I didn't. I kind of wish I would have, because it feels like definitely a good opportunity to pick up a stroke and not a lot of danger on this one.
So Carter actually missed that Mando right there, and it was a nice shot to avoid staying on that bogey train.
Most players find themselves with a short upshot on this hole because this tee shot asks for nothing but aggression. Adam with a full send. Not quite low enough, but he had a good bit on that. And we actually only saw 2 eagles on the day here on the 8th. I got to see one of them myself by my card mate Corbin Phillips, and Big Bomber Double G got the other one. So I got a feeling we'll see at least a couple each day. Excited to see who else is able to nab it. McMahon finds himself back at even. Barela as well. Adam the only clean round so far, but still, even he's feeling extremely slow currently. Hole 9. A par 3 at 315 feet is going to close out the front 9, and it's going to offer our skinniest gap yet on the track. Pretty open initially off the tee, but it really narrows in as you get into this last 100 feet of the flight. This big tree we're about to fly to the right of right here, it's going to be kind of the defining one that you want to beat just to the right side. A lot of players going power putter shot here, or maybe some kind of a softer mid-range. You will even see some forehands squeaked in. Eagle going very understable, flip up. Oh.
Inside out shot with the Rainmaker. What?
He missed the gap left, but still almost shaped himself back right into it.
Oh, I love that, man. What a special shot.
Hammy's going to the breaker, more of a straight, stable play. Just hitting on it flat and really well thrown.
Yeah, it gets a little bit of love, kind of squeaking past the last 2 trees that shape the far end of the gap.
Barela playing more of that Heiser stand-up, but just a bit late out of the hand with his Luna.
And that is going to be tough front for Anthony. Just a bit offline.
Carter looks to peer the gap, but just catches that down tree, that pesky thing that'll keep you
It's like
just outside the
24s.
circle. Yeah.
Oh, it's
I
outside
think-
the circle?
I feel like it is just outside.
Okay.
It might be just inside. Let's check.
Yeah, it's not been his day thus far. Such a pretty line. Such a fulfilling hole to see your disc fly all the way through.
If you keep it down the center of that gap the whole way, like a lot of people, you kind of stray off the gap a little bit and you get fortunate. Eagle takes advantage of his progress, even though he missed his line by a touch off the tee, and that was a fantastic putt.
Kind of caught that last chain link on the right side and just pulled it right in.
Scraps his way with a turkey finish on the front 9 to 1 under par.
Yeah, that's a circle 2 putt right there, Connor.
Yeah,
Good
I think
call.
maybe if you get to the right edge of that thing, you're like just inside the circle, but it really puts you at that tester range. Adam's slow and steady, but his 4 down leaves him in position to make a move on the back 9 and still be right up there at the top.
Hey, my first walk through this course, Connor, I really felt like Shelton Springs would get shredded by the field. But after watching golf today, I've kind of changed my mind a bit.
Yeah, so of course you hit your gaps and you stab a couple circle 2s in. It definitely is shreddable, and we will see it get shredded as James is 8 through 9. But it's also a course that if you're off by a little bit, it'll get you. As Eagle showed, every hole can cause a bogey, and you got to work hard.
And thank you guys for joining us here on Central Coast Disc Golf. You can follow Connor and myself. Connor, what's your Instagram?
It is Connor O'Reilly 99648.
And I am Perks of Disc Golf. And thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon for part 2 from the Cascade Challenge.